All right. Friday, April 17th, 7-11. 11 in the Slurpee Rock Cups. Remember those, man, from the 70s? The Slurpee Rock Cups? And the market was everything I expected it to be yesterday. Yeah. And let's jump right in. I was looking at Netflix. And I'm actually going to be feeling some pain today because me, the fucking dick off. I actually did a few trades in Netflix, thinking that it was going to be that the earnings were going to be good. I really did. I thought they were going to be good. So what I had done, I've had this one for a while. I've been rolling that one forward. That one's fine, but I bought a calendar spread. I did a 115, 120. That's going to be underwater today. The nice thing about that is that I'm going to be able to roll this 120 down. And that's why I did the calendar spread. So that should help me a little bit. But then what I did yesterday on the close, I was looking at these 120s. And if you look at the option chain on Netflix, these expire today. And at the time, the 120s, I was looking at open interest. But more importantly, I don't know if it'll have yesterday's volume. I hope it does. No. Yesterday's volume, there was like 65 or 70,000 contracts traded at the 120s. Now, likely, there's a lot going on. It wasn't people just buying those. I get that. What was likely going on is people were strangling. People were strangling this. They were selling because that was like the expected move, right? It was kind of a double sword here. It was the expected move. It was very top of the expected move, and it was like the one standard. It was actually a two standard. It's two standard devs. This is the two standard deviation move, and you're looking at like zero delta. So again, it was almost like a 0 day type of thing. People were probably trying to take advantage of. They were likely selling those and selling something down in here. Right? The two standard deviation, like a 0 day type of thing like you would do with earnings, right? Trying to take advantage of this ballooned volatility up here as well. And that's what I believe was going on because you can see here the open interest here down in this area down at the bottom of this expected move. Pretty heavy, right? Pretty heavy. 20,000 here, 18 here. So very interesting again. And I just figured, I was like, you know what? They haven't had a good earnings report in quite a while. I realized I was kind of like on the fence. I was like, do I do calls or I do puts? And I was like, I always usually make out better when I do calls. And so I was like, the market's bullish. The market's kind of around. I was like, I'll take a shot. But it was 50. I think I got these. For like, what did I get them? Let me see. Before I say something that's not true. 48 cents. They closed at 57. They're going to be worthless. They're probably going to be, if they're worth 5 cents today when this opens, these are just going to, the premium in these is going to vanish right on the open. And I'm okay with it. I took a shot. I was like, for $50, why not? And if they came out with earnings, it was earnings beat. I could have possibly like squeaked some money out. Again, it was just a. But that's how I played Netflix. And then here we are at 96.22. And then the earnings overall although they were, they're showing they were green here and they were good and it was a surprise, I think I don't really know what to think. I think it was subscribers or some bullshit, right? So even though the numbers were good, right, it was a surprise. It was 61% above expectations. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? I have no idea. Like sometimes, again, that's why these earnings plays, a lot of times, it's always best to kind of just be like in the middle. Because who knows what the hell they're going to interpret it as. But I thought it had something to do with subscribers or something. I didn't particularly go and look. Let me see I thought it was subscribers. Let's see, said co-founder Reed. And then Reed Hastings leaving, I think. Whoever Reed's. I couldn't tell you who the fuck he is. I know he's... I've heard his name before, but like, all right, so he's leaving. Oh, like, all right, whatever. These fucking CEOs move around companies like people change underwear. So who Oh, but warned second quarter profitability will weaken due to upfront content amortization increasing. Blah, 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 slumps, blah, blah, blah. So that's what it was. It was actually their... it was actually in their guidance is where they actually spooked the market out. Which makes sense to me. I know they're doing a ton of building here in Jersey. And there's literally, towns now in Monmouth, and particularly Monmouth towns all along the beach up in Eatontown there that are just like Hollywood fuckfaces are looking at places all over the place. And all right, great if you're a realtor, right? It's great if you're a realtor, but if you're a local and you used to go to those places and you used to hang out there, these fuck faces are going to go and bring their fucking politics to areas that are, and I wouldn't even call them like conservative. A lot of people would say, oh, they're conservative. No, they're very middle of the road, those places, but they're fucking nice. And, now they're probably going to just get more expensive, and not that they're not expensive already, but now you're going to have a bunch of these Hollywood dicks walking around. And making appearances there, and these fuck faces running around with their Instagram going, oh, I saw Melanie, whoever, most people, unless you're between the age of 20 and 30, have no fucking idea who the hell they are. And, they're probably they're just some influencer who shakes their ass on Instagram. But for some reason, there's a million plus. Well, anyway, I question that dead internet theory. I don't believe there's millions of people following these people. Quite honestly, I just don't. But anyway, that and they're going to ruin a lot of those towns up there, the Spring Lakes, the Seagerts, Monmouth Beach. They're going to fucking wreck it, and it's kind of depressing. It is kind of depressing, and it is what it is. What are you going to do? I mean, it's good for, I guess, the local community because you're going to have all this building going on up there. And again, if you're a realtor, it's probably great. But for everybody else and the locals who live there, it sucks. So anyway, that's it. It's going on with Netflix. I don't know if I'm actually going to do anything after earnings here. I kind of like it down here at 96. I kind of do. I liked it down here the last time. I do think it can go back and retrace 90s. And the reason I say that is it's really going to be contingent on what happens in the market overall. If the NASDAQ and the market kind of accumulate here and you get a lot of accumulation, it's likely there might not be much more downside to this. According to the chart here, it's not. That's not the case, right? I see truly very strong support down in the 90s in this area down here. That is just my opinion. Again, it's going to all rest on the overall market. If the market can stabilize and accumulate here, maybe it does create a base. But I'm going to wait and see how this thing trades out and probably not do anything until next week, Monday, Tuesday. And come next week, Monday, Tuesday, I will definitely do something more in Netflix, because as much as Netflix has my fucking number, I like trading it. I don't know why. It's kind of a, I don't think I've ever made, I think net, I don't think I've made money in Netflix over the years. I think it's probably, I think Netflix has won for me over the years. Trading it, investing in it is a different story. I mean, I have, I think I have 100 shares somewhere that I ended up getting from puts that I had shorted, and I got assigned way back when, and my cost basis, and with the splits and everything, my cost base is like $50. I want to say it's 40 or 50. I have it in I have it in TD count. And then what I've been doing with it is I've been selling calls. And so I'm actually short May 100 calls on Netflix. So those actually should look pretty good today. So anyway, without just kind of rambling on here, I would look to do something in here next week. So I'll actually bring it up on the broadcast. And the reason I'm bringing it up is like Netflix is one of these stocks. And I just want to let everybody know too. Look, I know I've been doing a lot of futures and talking a lot about futures. I mean, I've based this whole channel on doing options for the most part. And futures was kind of secondary. This futures thing for me is relatively, I'm not going to say it's new, but my focus in it is extremely new, because I'm very intrigued, and I've gotten very intrigued with the futures from a business perspective with these funded and these prop firms. And now that I have 2 live accounts with prop firms, one with Top Step and one with Lucid, my focus is much different. And I'm treating them as if they're real accounts, and I'm just finding it very interesting, and it's kind of exciting. Honestly, I kind of like it. And anyway, that's kind of it. And then, these are kind of my go-to stocks. So if you want this, I think there's a way to, I think most of you that probably follow along anyway have all these stocks on your list somewhere. But these are kind of my traders, right? These are kind of my go-tos that I'm constantly, usually, for the most part, have positions on, long or short, in any, if not all, of these stocks at any given time. And that's why I call it big tech, because this is kind of my big tech, and I don't stray much, folks. It's horrible. And I know sometimes people say, well, how come you don't look at this? And well, look at this. Because you know what? There's fucking thousands of stocks. I don't want to try and find the next whatever, because I'm trading these stocks, folks. I'm not investing in them. Do I have investments in some of them? Yeah, I do. But for the most part, they're on here. I'm trading them. I'm trading options. I'm looking for quick hits. I'm short. I'm selling premium. I'm doing a lot of different things. So that's the game plan here. And then if there is something newer, it's going to have something to do with this sector. This is a new sector of group of stocks that I'm following now. Now, look, I'm guilty just as anybody else. Every day I don't go in here and look, but if I do happen to see something hit the news cycle, or I see something in one of these spaces, I'm going to go and look and be like, all right, should I do something in here? Blah, 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 blah. And it gets added to this list. And then outside of that, I'm not playing around anymore. Totally different focus. And then when I take my profits, I watch all these ETFs, and when I take my profits and I put it up here, as I think being transparent is absolutely, 100% important in this day and age, because there are so many fucking fuck faces out there. I mean, it just seems like one's born. I know in my comments sometimes, and look, I follow along with this stuff because look, there's like one in every, I would say 100 to 200 people that come up and post stuff, and then that one person, you're like, you know what? Wow, that's interesting. Like I like that, right? But I'm not gonna just not watch that stuff because I'm gonna learn. But you got to go through the 100 assholes who are, fucking full of shit. And so it is what it is. But, look, in full disclosure, this is where I put my money, folks. When I make money and I take profits, this is where it goes. It goes into these things. And if you notice what's a consistent theme up here, most of these are ETFs. Most of these are ETFs. And the reason why is because I will trade almost anything and everything. But when it comes to like having my money and in something, and I want it to be relatively stable. Now that's not to say every single one of these is somewhat stable, like gold's all over the place, whatever. But I want my money or my cash to be liquid. I want to be in something that's extremely liquid because I want to be able to get in and out of it. I don't want to be stuck in a trade. And I also want something that's stable. And I do like dividends because all this majority of everything I have in here is in an IRA. And I can trade and make dividend. I could trade futures in here. I could trade stocks, and I don't have to worry about fucking taxes. I don't even think about taxes. I used to think about it all the time when I was trading in a regular account. It used to drive me nuts. I'd be like, oh God, look, I got $3,000 profit, short-term profit. Oh, well, before I take that, I got to go look for something. I got a $3,000 loss so I can offset it because I don't want to have to pay fucking $1,500 to the fucking government for capital gains. And if you're not trading that way, folks, then you're doing yourself a grave injustice because, look, if you have no problem just forfeiting 45% of your funds, because that's what it comes out to be. The capital gains, short-term capital gains turn out to be 30 to 40% of your fucking money. Regardless of how you slice it. It's fucking insane. And so, you gotta kind of trade with that. And I'm not a tax advisor, but I'm just trying to tell you that if you really want to do this for a living, and I've been doing this not just for a living, but well over 30 years now. I calculate it's like 36 years. Taxes are a big fucking deal. And if you don't think they are, you'll never see some jerk off, 25, 30-year-old jerk off who's trading 15 fucking profit accounts and saying he's making money in 2 and show those up on social media, but won't tell you he fucking blew up 100 to get those 2. And then those 2 one day will get fucking blown up. But he's not talking about taxes and the amount of taxes that he made, even though he got all these payouts. So, again, taxes are a big thing. And so be aware of it. So anyway, I just wanted to go on that little rant. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on with that and stocks and like what I'm doing. So, and it's a Friday. And so let's get into it. Let's go into gold. Let's take a look at gold. And I just noticed this just now, actually, looking at gold. And we are in a bit of... And if this looks interesting, it looks interesting to me, but if I was a pattern person, there are some patterns that I do particularly like. This, bump, 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 what do you think that is? That is an ascending triangle. Right, with the breakout. So I think you really need to look at that and keep that in mind while trading gold. And, this very well much could be. Wow, that is just fucking packing a bunch of adjectives and adverbs in front of one word. But this could very well much be. Wow. Fuck, I don't even think that's grammatically correct. But anyway, even if it's not, this is kind of what I think you need to be watching here in gold. And then why I think maybe some of the long trades have been much, much easier to take because there is a good likelihood that we are going to press these highs. We do have what I'm going to call a classic double top in here, right? 1 and 2, and that classic double top, at least on this time frame, this is the 4 hour. You have this classic double top in this ascending triangle that very well, if we get any bullish, it's likely that we bust through there, and that's a breakout trade. Now, I know that's quite a ways away, but gold has been known we could take that out in one day based on headlines or anything like that. So very interesting pattern in gold. And then obviously as you start to drill down on this, it's going to become much, much clearer. You can see that this pattern truly is kind of holding, and we are really like consolidating here in an uptrend. And that's not to say that a short trade in gold is a bad thing. In fact, last night, we got a pretty nice move to the upside last night during the after hours. Right around here, it was right around 48.08 or so. And we rallied pretty hard and pretty nicely up to about the 15s. And then we sold off pretty hard and came back. This is this here, I think, from last night. Yeah, we sold off pretty hard, right? We moved here and we sold off hard, and we actually took out some of this support down here, not just once or twice, but a couple of times. We did eventually bounce back up, but you can see it's been a choppy ride here so far. However, if you're a range trader, we are in a pretty nice range where if you are a range trader, you could be slicing and a dicing this thing up. And that's when we put our little indicator on, and you can see we have some pretty distinct, nicely formed support and resistance in here, not only on the downside, but also on the upside here in gold. So I would definitely mark this one out. This one looks particularly very interesting to me today, 48.24s, to see if we can, possibly get up there. We're really not that far away. I don't know if I would really take anything in here. Again, I'm going to have to see and look for a reversal. That doesn't really interest me. But more importantly, this area down here is really interesting to me today. If we make an attempt back down here, we seem to have really found, again, short-term support in here. And there's definitely some buyers in here that want to hold this. And they were even able to hold this last night, as much as this was a kind of a pressing moment last night. A couple of 100 points at this point, because this was pretty vicious. This is a pretty vicious downturn, but you could see not only was the downturn pretty vicious, the snapback was just as vicious. And and then we actually proceeded overnight to even break the previous day's high. So again, interesting fold here in gold. Gold is, again, I always say it, is not for the faint of heart. It is a absolute beast. And as you can see, as we start to zoom out, these areas are pretty distinct, and they are not changing based on the time frame. So that is actually a good thing too. So if I'm looking at some areas of resistance today, I'm going to look at these pivots. They are lining up perfect today. 46.63s on R2, 48.47s on R1. To the downside, 47.94s. They bought those overnight, so I would definitely mark that. And then S2, 47.78. Not as strong, only because you have this huge wick here, and I'm not really a fan of trying to find support when you got a big wick like that. Game plan, you got it in plain sight, especially if you have these indicators up on your screen. You are in good shape. Or if you just want to go and mark them yourself. As I said, what this tool does is it, for someone who's not familiar with drawing them, kind of forces your eye. It forces your eye, and it kind of keeps, because as I said, I draw these out. You can see I even have alert down here. I have no idea when I did it, but you can start to force your eye. If you've been trading this way, you can kind of already see them without them actually being painted up on the screen. It's quite amazing. And that's really what I would recommend you do with this tool, is that turn it off and then look and see if you see levels. And then when you do, turn it on and see if they coordinate. And if they do, then that means you're starting to get it. You're starting to get it. At least for this trading style, this isn't ICT, this isn't SMC, this isn't fucking order flow. And order flow is it's like another thing that's starting to get on my nerves. Order flow's been around for decades, folks. I was using order flow back in blah blah blah, but I was using order flow, 2010s. I want to say it started really coming into mainstream 2010s, 2011s, but you're using it for fucking decades, 2 decades now. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, Bookmap is the new one. Bookmap, which is basically this. Look, it's basically this. And it's kind of a joke. It really is. It's basically this, folks. It is basically this with fucking balloons. With circles. That's all it is. It's the same fucking thing. It is the same exact. I've watched plenty of demonstrations. It's the same fucking thing with circles. It's the same thing. I mean, so just realize that when everybody's running to the latest and greatest next thing, chances are it's only a rework. Again, it's I equate it to, Apple's got a new iPad. And they move the button from fucking the middle to the top. And so don't get yourself all whacked out about it. Because honestly, this is what I'm missing here. Honestly, it is the same fucking thing. It's all the same thing. It's just rebranding. They're rebranding. They change the icons. They maybe change the colors. They make them a little more. Maybe they make the colors a little more robust, and it's all the same shit. It's all the same shit. This is what it is. It's this with bubbles. And they're going to charge you whatever. Now, look, I know there's people who are out there and they say, but, look at what the people are saying. I guarantee that 80% of them are affiliates. And they're getting paid to send you to the link and go and fucking get a discount code on it. And I guarantee that's why they're fucking telling you to go. They ain't telling you to go and do it just because they're one fucking hell of a guy or a gal. Nope. It don't work that way. It's always about money. So anyway, that's gold, and that's how I'm trading it. here today. And so train your eyes too with this indicator if you're using it. Try and draw those lines yourself first and get a feel for how that works. Let's go over to the NASDAQ and look at the NASDAQ. This thing has been an absolute, let's look at this on the 4 hour. This is just a beast. What do you say? It is what it is. I have not done a trade in the NASDAQ in probably 2 or 3 days. I don't think I've done a trade in the NASDAQ through this whole thing. It's been basically gold and the Russell. I think maybe once I did one trade in here in the last 3-4 days that this thing has been kind of grinding through your eyes. Again, it's not my trading style to, just go long and just kind of go with it. Unfortunately, maybe, to my detriment, but hey, but this is the NASDAQ on the 4 hour. You look at the daily. I mean, it is just, it's impressive, man. I keep saying it's impressive. I mean, because I can remember just a week ago that this was the end of the fucking world, right? Donald Trump was sending us down, right? It was all, it was all Trump. And, love him or hate him, everybody was, oh my God, what are you doing? Right? And then boom. And there we go, all-time record highs. Volatility basically just got sucked out of the market. Crude oil is now $87 right? It's down to $87. Now you got the secretary of the Treasury Secretary telling the gas companies, you better bring down the fucking gas prices because we're going to fucking go after you because there's no reason why you could be gouging people. And, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. Now what? And as I say over and over again, folks, you really want to know what's going on in the world and you really want to know the reality of things, good, bad, or indifferent, look at the markets. The markets will tell you how things are going in the world. Regardless of what you watch on TV, on social media, all that stuff, the markets will tell you. And they always do. And that's not to say when we were down here that the markets were telling us that, they were telling us that they were uncomfortable. They didn't like what was going on. And that things maybe weren't going so good. But wow, what a week makes. And so there's that. But NASDAQ's going to be a tough trade. I was even looking at it last night and trying to trade it. And, even as I start going and drilling down in here, I just can't trade this market. I can't. I'm not going to be one to just short here because you're probably going to get run over. I don't even really see anything tradable. We have this area up here, which is obviously, this is pretty obvious that this would be a choke point as we get up higher there. That's going to be the new buzzword too. You watch. That I guarantee now with all the choke point things, with the Strait of Hormuz is a choke point. This strait of, the Strait of fucking Magellan or whatever, that's just choke point. Now everything's a choke point. It's just kind of funny, and how the terms kind of circulate through the internet like a bunch of fucking retards. And there goes gold. Gold just popped. So, and I don't know why. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I can't even really talk about it because it's all right, it's going up. It's going up. And then the other night, I will fully admit that I tried shorting this at the highs, literally for about 20 minutes. And I just did small little trades, and I probably took 5 or 6 of them, really, really tight stops, just in some micros, and I got stopped out every fucking time. Every time it was like new high, New high, new high, new high. I couldn't even catch like a down tick. I was just looking for like a quick hit, $30, $25, $30, just as kind of like playing around. And I was like, this is insane. I mean, there's like no down tick. Now, if I do that on any other given day, chances are, if I take 5 of those trades, 2 are going to work. On a regular normal day, where if I'm just either like buying the highs and then just looking for that little snapback, on any other day, 2 or 3 of those are going to work. Literally was 0 for fucking 6, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. I wrapped it up, and I went home. I'm like, this is insane. I mean, I could have literally did the exact opposite, kept buying the highs, and I would have actually killed it. I killed it. I would have made it, over $100 for sure, really quickly. So I mean, and to me, that's not a market worth trading. Now the Russell, on the other hand, I do like the Russell here. Problem is, though, is the Russell does have a lot of the same problems that it's got a lot of the same problems that the NASDAQ has, is in that it is at or near highs. And, this is a rough market to trade. I'm just trying to zoom in here. You can see here, even today, we are in a pretty tight trading range, 2748 R3, S3 2702. It hasn't even really changed much from yesterday. It's crazy. So literally a 48-point range from the bottom at S3, from the lowest support point to the highest resistance, is literally just less than 48 points, 46 points. That's crazy. Very, very tight range. So you kind of have to have your head on a swivel here and play the edges as much as you can. If I was going to be looking to take a trade, it's obviously going to be somewhere up here. I don't see any areas of resistance like coming in up here at all. So again, you're kind of just rolling the dice. Like, all right, hey, we're hitting highs of the day. Is it going to keep going up? Eventually it always pulls back from the highs, but when is really the question, and you don't know. And so it's tough. It's a tough trade. We are due, though, for a pullback. And I almost believe that even a 50 or 50 plus handle pullback, and even if it's over the course of a day or 3, would be healthy, because again, then we kind of give ourselves not only upside targets to kind of short, but also downside targets to buy into. But when you have this constant up, it's rough. No question about it. It's rough. And you go on the 4-hour, even the day. Right, this is obvious because I believe this is at or near the highs. And so again, that's just really an obvious choke point. And it just happens to be at R3, right? There you go, R3, folks, right? There it is. And so, will I take this trade? I don't know. I don't know. It's there, and I should take it, but, again, it's obviously a pretty obvious point of resistance, because it hasn't been broken way back when and I don't know the actual number, though. I don't think we're at all-time highs yet. I don't know if we are or not. We're damn close. Let's see. It's got to be this one. And, that is the all-time 2749. 2749 Wapner at 4 o'clock. So that is the, again, and that one hasn't been breached yet. And it looks like it's about to be. And we will see. And crude oil is just getting absolutely smoked. So that's kind of where we're at with this. And I don't even know if there's even going to be. And you notice I haven't even said anything about what could possibly be the trade of the day, there is nothing, folks. There is absolutely nothing. I mean, unless you catch these highs and you got the, you know, maybe what I do when we get up there, that's kind of like one where, you know, you do one or two micros, small, right? Just to kind of as an engagement, like, all right, like, let me see if I can catch it. You know, tight stop, risk few bucks, don't risk a lot. And then if it backs down off that and you make some money, so be it. Otherwise, go home. I don't see a lot. There again, I think gold, if there's anything that's going to trade today, but look at this. Look at gold. Now, I should have been paying attention. Like, I mean, look, folks, we came up in here. I mean, this is a perfect setup. We came up in here and we reversed, and this is on the 5-minute, and so it happened fast. We came up here, we reversed, and now we're down literally like, we're almost down like 10 ticks. And so I should have been paying attention because I should have took that trade. The alert went off. I was just too busy to. But again, it's Friday, and I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of trading on Fridays unless something's really, really that good. That was actually a good setup, which sucks. I'm pissed I missed that. But, hey, there's always another one right behind that, right? Or right in front of that. So, anyway, that is all I got overall. Put crude oil up there just for the freak of it. And we'll get rid of this. You can see this has just been, they're just smoking this. I would love, nothing would make me feel better than to see this down back in the 70s again. But who knows? We could get there. We're already $7 down. I know there was another ceasefire over there 2 weeks. I think Israel and Hezbollah or Lebanon or somebody's in ceasefire. So things are cooling down over there a bit, so which is good. Yeah, that's it. That's really it. I mean, I don't want to talk about the ES. ES fucking boring. And I got this here. Fend for yourself. Low of the year, right? We were talking this, right? This is the low of the year. Back at the beginning of the month, folks. And look at that. Look at this freaking. So if you're talking about a market that was coiled up and wanting a catalyst and a reason to buy, man, it happened. It's happened. It's crazy stuff. Let's see what else. And then I think the big thing is like next week, if we were to look at the earnings front, and let's just bring it. Next week's going to be the week. So if you go up here to earnings and you go to all earnings, and you go to earnings at next week is going to be the big week where I think most of you're going to start to see. Netflix was the one today. But you're going to start to see a lot of the bigger ones report next week. I see UAL, Halliburton's on the list. That's not usually a bad one to trade. Just looking at the ones that I usually get engaged with. UAL, United Airlines. Airlines can be a decent probably play here with UAL. Good IV rank. It's pretty liquid stock. A lot of turmoil going on with the jet fuel prices. I'm sure they're playing out the ass. Tesla, that one's going to probably be surprisingly though, and even with the big sell-off and subsequent rally in Tesla, I'm very surprised this IV rank is as low as it is. It's very interesting, which kind of takes it off the table for earnings. So I don't know if I'm really going to be doing anything in that. Let's see. What else? Boeing. That's usually not a bad one. Decent IV rank in there. I swear every time I look at Boeing, it's fucking $200. It's around $200. I don't think that thing goes anywhere. I don't think it ever goes anywhere. It literally has been $200 or around $200 since I was like fucking 10 years old. So anyway, that's probably going to be a pretty good one. Las Vegas Sands is always usually another good one. Nice thing about this one is, nice thing about Las Vegas Sands is that it usually has a good IV rank, but also the margins. Like, so if you want to do something like a little aggressive in there, the margins are usually pretty good on Las Vegas Sands. So that one looks like another one. And I think airlines overall, like here's another one. Here's Love Southwestern, especially with all the stuff going on with JetBlue and Spirit and all this other thing. Again, with the fuel prices and everything else, those could be interesting plays. And then this has a huge IV rank, so that one might obviously be a good one. I see IBM. I actually like IBM. Here, I kind of wish, I kind of like to see a pullback in there before I did something on that. I do like that stock overall. Let me take a look at, I think it got away from me, to be honest. Let's just take a look at IBM. But I do think it got away from me, because I actually was interested in it down here in the 40s, and now that it's 51, it's up a bit today. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. There's definitely going to be some resistance up here. There's definitely going to be some resistance up here on IBM. No question about it. It's going to have to break out over about 250. What's this candle here? 260. 260. 90. It's going to have to break out over there, and you can see if it does have a lot of room to run. A lot of room to run, at least up to 290. So, yeah, IBM could be a good one to play for earnings and maybe get something in there before earnings. Honeywell, that one usually sucks. American Express sucks. Lockheed, although that one's Lockheed kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. And so there's a lot next week. There is an awful lot. So I just went through some of the big Intel I see. Freeport McMoran, that should be a good one. That stock's been on a freaking tear as well. Good volatility rank. So there's going to be some good ones. I'm not going to go through, but there is definitely going to be some good ones tomorrow, next week for earnings. And so we'll definitely do a couple. I'm not going to go crazy, but I'll do a couple. I haven't done any in a while. I always like doing them. They're fun more than anything. I don't really do them for profit, to quite honestly. I used to try and think I do, but I do them more for just engagement, just to kind of, I don't know. It's like mental masturbation, but because I enjoy it. And I would have to say my success rate is probably about 50-50. I can't really say that it's been completely successful, but I can't really say it's been a complete failure. I think what it does do is it actually, and again, I think it's a great engagement tool for options. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got. We missed the greatest trade of all time today in gold. Like, look at this move down. Wow. That was the trade, folks. We marked it here, too, live. We just didn't take it. So, and hats off to anybody who took that. You are sitting pretty right now. Sitting pretty. All right. So, again, have a good one. It's 8 o'clock. I don't think it's going to be a very active day for myself. Although I do see crude oil kind of like falling off a cliff, but equity markets are not really following. Dow is a bit, but I would kind of thought maybe we'd be really screaming here with oil kind of dropping, but maybe that's all baked in. Anyway, so have a good one, and we will be back.